Recap. Renegade Immortal, Chapter 117, Chapter Moiful. The sky trembled as 30,000 souls surged like a spectral tide, weaving in and out of the colossal dragon as though reveling in some twisted feast. Their laughter was silent, yet deafening to the spirit. The dragon roared, its massive form phasing through the sea of souls without resistance, and in an instant, it lunged toward Teng Huayuan. Caught off guard, Teng Huayuan's composure fractured. His face darkened, unease flashing across his eyes. Yet there was no time to ponder. He retreated rapidly, sleeves whipping in the wind as he hurled out one defensive treasure after another. Brilliant lights flared, barriers formed, and power surged, but all of it was meaningless. The dragon passed through each treasure as if they were illusions themselves, unstoppable, untouchable. With a thunderous roar, it opened its maw and swallowed Teng Huayuan whole. Not far away, Lin Yi watched with narrowed eyes, his expression strange. He turned toward the towering giant beside him, only to find that the giant's face mirrored his own bewilderment. The two exchanged a glance, and then the giant suddenly burst into laughter, his gaze filled with amusement as he watched the unfolding spectacle. Within the dragon's grasp, Teng Huayuan felt only a faint breeze brush past him. The ferocity he had witnessed moments ago vanished without a trace. The dragon dissolved like mist, leaving nothing behind. Cold sweat drenched his back. Illusion! His face shifted from green to red in rapid succession. Rage and humiliation boiled over, and for the first time in centuries since reaching the core formation stage, Teng Huayuan cursed aloud. To be frightened by an illusion, and in front of the cultivators of Zhao no less. His fury reached its peak. His eyes darkened with murderous intent as he slapped his bag of holding, intending to summon the Black Flag and slaughter Wang Lin's family before his eyes. But just then, points of light shimmered into existence in the air. They gathered swiftly, coalescing into the form of a youth once more. Without a single word, the youth raised his hand. A streak of cyan light, cold and piercing, shot forward like a blade of frozen wind. Teng Huayuan sneered, stepping forward instead of retreating. His voice dripped with disdain. The first was illusion, but the second might not be. Is this all you have, Wang Lin? With that, he reached out and grasped the incoming flying sword. A flash of green light flickered. The sword vanished from his grasp, only to reappear behind him in the next instant, lunging mercilessly toward his back. A sharp metallic clang echoed. The sword struck something solid and rebounded violently. Beneath the torn fabric of Teng Huayuan's robes, a golden plate of armor gleamed faintly. A cold glint flashed in Teng Huayuan's eyes. He stepped forward, his expression turning grim. Black lines extended from his fingernails as he reached toward the youth with lethal intent. At the same time, his left hand waved, summoning 8 towering pillars of blood. They rose from the ground and interconnected, forming a cage that sealed the space. Yet the youth hovering in the air showed no fear. Instead, a faint, mocking smile curved his lips. As Teng Huayuan's hand neared, the youth's body dissolved into a single point of light, slowly fading away. In his place remained 2 grains of cyan light, one large, one small. They collided. Teng Huayuan's expression changed drastically. In that very moment, a wave of cyan brilliance erupted outward, spreading in all directions and instantly engulfing everything within a radius of 1 kilometer. The world froze. Within that space, everything transformed into an endless ocean of ice. Lin Yi's eyes narrowed as he observed the phenomenon. Interesting. This little fellow is truly interesting. Not only does he possess the 1,000 illusion bead of Illusion City, but he also wields the blue ice of the underworld sect. Even that flying sword, though an imitation, it carries formidable power. Above, the giant stared toward Juming Valley, his expression shifting into a peculiar smile. High in the sky, the thin film within the circle formed by 2 black dragons had nearly melted away. It trembled, on the verge of opening. Below, the 8 blood pillars surrounding Teng Huayuan crackled as frost consumed them. In an instant, they were rendered useless, their power shattered by the freezing tide. At the same time, layers of blue ice crept up Teng Huayuan's legs, coldness seeping into his body and stiffening his movements. Yet he remained calm. This level of chill was insufficient to truly threaten him. With a surge of spiritual energy, he dispelled the stiffness and restored his mobility. But, at that very instant, Wang Lin appeared. At the entrance of Juming Valley, he had used one of his final teleportations. Emerging just as the cyan light spread, his body, resistant to the cold, moved unhindered. Silent as a ghost, he materialized behind Teng Huayuan. He understood the disparity between them. Against a nascent soul cultivator, he had no chance. Teng Huayuan could kill him with a mere gesture. Revenge was impossible. Even so, the flames of hatred burned fiercely within him, but he suppressed them. Without hesitation, he reached for Teng Huayuan's bag of holding. Teng Huayuan sensed his presence and turned abruptly. When he saw Wang Lin, realization dawned instantly. Yet his body had only just recovered, his movements slowed by the lingering cold. Wang Lin's sudden appearance gave him no time. By the time he reacted, Wang Lin's hand had already touched the bag. A violent force erupted. The moment Wang Lin made contact, destructive energy surged from the bag of holding, racing into his arm. The explosion began at his fingertips, spreading rapidly. Gritting his teeth, Wang Lin summoned his flying sword. In a decisive act, he severed his own hand. Using the force of the explosion, he propelled himself backward. At the same time, his left hand moved swiftly. With his attraction technique, he seized the bag of holding and retreated at full speed. Teng Huayuan regained full mobility and stepped forward, instantly breaking free of the icy domain. In a blink, he pursued Wang Lin. He caught up almost immediately. Reaching out, he shouted, "Wang Lin, do you think that stealing my bag of holding means you can open it? You killed my great-great-grandson. I will refine your soul into my soul flag and make you suffer torment worse than death." Wang Lin's right arm was completely shattered. He sealed it with spiritual energy to stop the bleeding. He did not dare touch the bag directly, holding it instead with his attraction force. Teng Huayuan burned with humiliation. To be forced into such a state by a mere Foundation Establishment junior, to be deceived by illusion, restrained by ice, and even robbed of his bag, it was more than disgrace. It was as though he had been slapped again and again before countless eyes. What enraged him most was Wang Lin's ability to teleport, a power reserved for nascent soul cultivators. And beyond that, Wang Lin's ruthless decisiveness, cutting off his own arm without hesitation. For a fleeting moment, Teng Huayuan felt a trace of admiration, but it was quickly drowned by hatred. The more resolute Wang Lin was, the more Teng Huayuan wanted him dead. "Wang Lin, you cannot blame me for killing your kin, but rest assured, after I kill you, I will wipe out Old Man Jimo and all his disciples. They will accompany you in death." With a wave of his hand, a cold wind howled. 30,000 souls surged forth once more, rushing toward Wang Lin. To prevent escape, Teng Huayuan struck his chest. His nascent soul emerged above his head, roaring as it rapidly shrank. From its mouth, a ball of blood appeared, expanding instantly to envelop the surrounding space. A curse descended. The moment the blood spread, Wang Lin's body froze in place. He attempted to teleport. But then he saw them, the souls charging toward him. Among them, faces twisted in agony, and within that sea of torment, his father. Blood streamed from Wang Lin's eyes. Teng Huayuan saw his reaction and halted his advance, his laughter turning eerie. "Did you think I stored your family's souls in a single flag? Wang Lin, you are too naive." With a gesture, the mass of souls parted. Wang Lin's father's soul broke free and rushed toward him. Teeth clenched, blood spilling from his lips, Wang Lin watched as his father's soul entered his body. The agony was unbearable, but he began to laugh, a broken, desperate laugh that grew louder as blood spilled from his mouth. "This is the cultivation world," he cried, striking his forehead and spitting out yin spiritual energy. Carefully, he wrapped it around his father's soul, preserving it without freezing it. Teng Huayuan's heart trembled briefly, but he dismissed it. With another wave, a second soul emerged. This time, it was Wang Lin's mother. Wang Lin's body shook violently. The bag of holding slipped from his grasp, now utterly meaningless. Memories flooded him. Childhood laughter, warmth before the sect, a life long gone. "See how merciful I am?" Teng Huayuan mocked. "Reuniting you with your parents." With a flick of his finger, Wang Lin's mother's soul entered him. The pain in his heart eclipsed all else. Coldly, Wang Lin stared forward, once more using yin energy to preserve her soul. Teng Huayuan smiled darkly. "Enough games. You hope to escape through the tunnel to the foreign battleground. Give up that idea." He reached out. Wang Lin's bag of holding flew back into his grasp. Crushing it, He destroyed everything within, tokens, hopes, and all. At once, the 30,000 souls surged into Wang Lin's body, devouring his flesh and spiritual energy, faces twisted beneath his skin, writhing in torment. Some even lunged toward the frozen souls of his parents, but Wang Lin shielded them with his own body. His left hand was devoured first, then his legs. Through it all, he made no sound. He only stared at Teng Huayuan. The chill in Teng Huayuan's heart deepened. Above, the giant watched with excitement. Hostility aura! This is hostility aura! Wang Lin's body slowly disintegrated under the onslaught. Teng Huayuan muttered, Li Er, your great-great-grandfather avenges you. Once his body is gone, I will take his soul. Wang Lin laughed bitterly. He no longer felt pain. With his remaining strength, he used attraction force to draw his parents' souls to his chest. Even in death, he would not let them go. He did not regret leaving Juming Valley. Hiding would only delay fate. But stepping forward had given him a chance, however small, to reclaim them. Now, trapped in the blood prison, unable to teleport, only hatred remained. Father, mother, Taiju is unfilial. If there is another life, I wish not to be your son. Without me, you would not have suffered. Blood tears streamed as he closed his eyes. And then, an ancient voice echoed from his chest. In the next instant, Wang Lin's body exploded. The 30,000 souls fled in terror. A beam of light erupted, seizing his parents' souls, shattering the blood prison, and piercing into the foreign battleground. Above, the nearly melted barrier collapsed under its force. Lin Yi and the giant both changed expressions instantly. Lin Yi shouted, "It's..." but cut himself off, leaping toward the foreign battleground. Yet the moment he touched the circle of black dragons, he was violently repelled. The heavens fell silent. Only the echo of that ancient power lingered in the air. The giant's laughter thundered across the heavens, thick with greed and triumph, as though he had already seized the destiny of all beneath his gaze. His eyes gleamed like molten iron as he spoke, his voice rolling like distant thunder. Good, good! All of this credit shall belong to me alone. Today's harvest is truly abundant. First, the hostility aura, and now this bead. His lips curled into a savage grin as he fixed his gaze upon Lin Yi. Lin Yi, if you dare contend with me, I will personally end your life. As his words fell, the clouds above churned violently, and from within them, the giant descended. His body towered more than 100 feet high, vast as a mountain peak pressing down upon the world. An overwhelming pressure radiated from him, suffocating all who stood nearby, as if the very air had become heavy with submission. Then, with a series of cracking sounds like bones grinding beneath immense force, his colossal frame began to shrink. Flesh and sinew condensed, power folding inward until he stood once more in the shape of a normal man. Yet even in this form, the aura he exuded was terrifying. Upon his forehead, faint yet unmistakable, was the imprint of a hammer, an ancient mark that pulsed with a subtle, ominous power. Lin Yi's face darkened as he shouted in anger, "Shh! What nonsense are you spouting?" The giant paid him no mind. His gaze was cold and domineering as he stepped into the formation circle. With a casual wave of his hand, the formation shifted. What had once been a circle transformed once more into two coiling dragons of light. In the blink of an eye, the portal vanished as though it had never existed. The sky cleared, the clouds dispersed, light returned to the heavens. Lin Yi stood there, his expression twisted with fury and humiliation. His eyes flicked toward Teng Huayuan, who still stood frozen, unable to fully comprehend what had just transpired. Lin Yi let out a cold, mocking laugh, sharp as a blade, and without another word, his figure vanished into the distant horizon. Outside Juming Valley, every cultivator who had witnessed this scene etched it deeply into their hearts. A mere foundation establishment cultivator, daring to stand against a nascent soul expert, the name Wang Lin burned itself into their memories like a brand. Zhao's right to enter the foreign battleground was mercilessly stripped away. It mattered not whether tokens remained, for the Lord Messenger who had opened the tunnel had already departed in pursuit of something far greater. Why would such a figure concern himself with trivial matters like leftover tokens? Lin Yi's heart was filled with a seething rage. He had watched helplessly as the item the cultivation union sought was taken right before his eyes. The bitterness of that moment churned within him like poison, threatening to make him cough up blood. What made it worse was the truth he could not escape. That bead had always been within Zhao, and he, Lin Yi, had been Zhao's overseer. If this matter ever spread, it would be a humiliation he could never wash away. Meanwhile, Teng Huayuan's face remained dark and unsettled. He could not determine whether Wang Lin had truly perished. Though logic told him the youth must be dead, an inexplicable fear lingered in his heart, gnawing at his thoughts like an unseen shadow. One by one, the cultivators outside Jueming Valley began to depart, and with them, the legend of Wang Lin spread. Like wind carrying whispers across mountains and rivers, the story traveled far and wide until every cultivator in Zhao had heard the name. Punanzi returned to the Xuandao sect with his disciples. Among them walked a young woman, Liu Mei. She had witnessed everything, and within her heart, a quiet bitterness took root. She did not understand why, but somewhere deep within, there existed a faint thread of affection for Wang Lin. It was fragile, like a single strand of silk, yet it refused to break. Even as time passed, it did not fade. Instead, in the stillness of night, when all was silent, it would rise once more, stirring her thoughts. Wang Zhuo and Wang Hao also learned of what had transpired outside Jueming Valley. The hatred they once harbored toward Wang Lin, born from the destruction he had brought, slowly dissipated. They understood now. They did not possess the courage to stand against nascent soul cultivators. Yet this realization did not extinguish their desire for vengeance. Instead, it shifted. Their hearts hardened with a single goal, to kill Teng Huayuan. This would be the purpose of their lives. After returning, Punanzi came to learn of the tragedy that had befallen the Wang family. Moved by Liu Mei's plea, he accepted Wang Hao as his disciple. Liu Mei knew this was the only way she could offer help to Wang Lin, even if he would never know. Teng Huayuan, burdened by that lingering fear, returned to Teng Family City and entered closed-door cultivation. He swore an oath to himself. He would not emerge until he had reached the late stage of nascent soul. Thus, the entire country of Zhao fell into an eerie quiet. Time passed. Far beyond Zhao, within the foreign battleground, the world itself seemed fractured. Space was riddled with rifts, jagged tears that could appear without warning. Steel wind howled endlessly, slicing through the land like invisible blades. At this very moment, thousands of cultivators from dozens of rank 3 cultivation countries had gathered here, tasked with cleansing this chaotic realm. Yet the highest cultivation among them was merely the late stage of foundation establishment. In such a place, even taking a single step carried the risk of death. How could they hope to complete such a task? But before entering, the Lord Messenger who had opened the tunnel had given each of them a piece of jade. This jade shielded them from the deadly steel wind and would return them to their home countries after 50 years. However, against the unpredictable spatial rifts that could manifest anywhere, these jades were utterly useless. The foreign battleground remained a place of extreme danger. Still, for those who were cautious and fortunate, survival was possible. On average, only 30% would live to leave, a grim number. Yet the rewards were equally great. Within this land lay countless materials and treasures. To cultivators, whose path defied the heavens themselves, such risks were worth taking. The greater the danger, the greater the reward. Those who returned alive would gain prestige within their sects. Their cultivation would also advance rapidly, for the spiritual energy here was far denser than in their homelands, and the constant threat of death sharpened their will. Each cleansing cycle would see some successfully form their core. This was why so many foundation establishment cultivators willingly risked everything to come here. At the northeastern angle of this battlefield, at the 67th position, a young man dressed in white crouched beside a corpse. With careful precision, he used a knife to pry at the gaps in the armor covering the body. His intent was clear. He wanted the armor. The armor itself was in terrible condition, charred, cracked, and scarred by countless battles. The chest portion had been completely shattered, exposing a fist-sized hole beneath. On the corpse, barely visible unless one looked closely, was the faint imprint of a hammer. The youth's name was Mai Liang. He hailed from the war god temple of Ho Fen. For over 30 years, he had wandered this battleground. He was experienced. Here, one did not age. But once they left, all those years would catch up to them in an instant. As he worked, his expression suddenly changed. Without hesitation, he dropped flat against the ground. A streak of black light shot past him. My Liang froze, his heart pounding. Within that fleeting flash, he thought he saw something. A bead. Without a second thought, he abandoned the armor and gave chase. In 30 years, he had encountered no living cultivators beyond his peers. However, he had seen wandering treasures, magical artifacts that moved on their own. He had heard tales. Such treasures possessed consciousness. They were powerful beyond imagination. His heart surged with excitement as he pursued the black light. The further he chased, the faster his pulse raced. This region was desolate. In the past year, he had not encountered a single cultivator. His thoughts spiraled with hope. My luck has finally arrived, he muttered inwardly. If I obtain this treasure in return, Junior Apprentice Sister will surely admire me. I will present it to the sect head, and he will allow her to form a cultivation pair with me. Wouldn't that be perfect? Driven by this dream, Mai Liang pushed himself to the limit. Yet the bead was too fast. No matter how he chased, the distance only grew. Gritting his teeth, he reached into his storage bag and pulled out a red shuttle, radiating heat. This was his greatest treasure. Normally, he would never reveal it. But now, he had no choice. With a decisive motion, he threw it forward. The shuttle expanded instantly, humming with power as it surged ahead at incredible speed. Mai Liang clung to it tightly, the wind striking him like heavy blows. After some time, he managed to open his eyes. The distance between him and the bead had shrunk. Excitement surged within him. Time passed. Though he no longer fell behind, he could not gain ground either. For 3 days, the chase continued. Then, he realized he had entered a foreign region. His heart tightened. Such places were the most dangerous of all. Spatial rifts could appear in great numbers, devouring everything in their path. He hesitated. Then, before him, countless white streaks appeared. His expression changed instantly. He forced the shuttle to halt and retreated. He knew these signs. White streaks were the precursors to spatial rifts. Soon, they would merge into a massive tear that would swallow all. His face pale, he scanned his surroundings. Seeing that the danger lay only ahead, he exhaled slightly. With a bitter smile, he muttered, "Forget it. Not worth dying for a treasure. I don't even understand. I haven't even cultivated with Junior Apprentice Sister yet. I refuse to die here." At that very moment, a thin white streak appeared before the black light. Without hesitation, the black light plunged into it. Mai Liang sighed, cursing. Another one swallowed. In 30 years, you've devoured countless treasures. If not 10,000, then 8,000. Why can't you leave one for me? He had barely finished speaking when a hand landed on his shoulder. A chill shot through his body. Slowly, he turned. Behind him stood a middle-aged man, his expression dark. "Little one," the man said coldly, "did you see that black light?" Mai Liang's eyes fell upon the hammer mark on the man's forehead. His breath caught. He recognized it. The symbol of the giant demon clan, a terrifying force from a rank 5 cultivation country. They were born with spiritual energy, possessing bodies unmatched in cultivation. Only at the soul transformation stage could they fully alter their form. This man was undoubtedly a soul transformation expert. Mai Liang's throat went dry. He dared not lie. "Yes, Senior, I saw it. It went that way, and was swallowed by a spatial rift." The man was the very one who had pursued Wang Lin's bead from Zhao. Despite his speed, he had failed to catch it. The bead had matched him, evaded him, even grown faster. And the spatial rifts had hindered him. Even with teleportation, he could only keep from losing it entirely. Then he had encountered Mai Liang, and discovered that, with that shuttle, this youth could move faster than he himself could. Now, hearing the truth, his face darkened further. The battleground had limits, but spatial rifts did not. Searching for the bead within them would be like finding a needle in the sea. He turned his gaze toward Mai Liang. Without hesitation, he seized the shuttle. "This is mine now." Then, without another glance, he departed. Mai Liang stood frozen, drenched in cold sweat. Only after the man vanished did he finally exhale. Without daring to linger, he fled the area. What he did not know was that the man who had taken his shuttle was infamous even within his rank 5 country, a figure who never left empty-handed. Wherever he went, he would always take something.